1, 2, 3, 4.
What is up? Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Hauntilogical Society podcast, the place where we talk about paranormal shit, high strangeness, and everything in between. I'm your host. I'm Eric, and with me, as always,
Wendy.
The birthday girl herself.
It is over. Bye-bye. Had a great time. Was spoiled by my boys as usual, but I'm not an all eyes on me type of person. So glad it's gone.
We had a fun week of celebrating Wendy, all things Wendy, everything Wendy.
Thank you, Jordan, Glenn, Vince. You did me good. I appreciate you. I love you to death.
What about Gabe?
Gabe, yes, of course. Gabe, yes.
Because he got you that awesome t-shirt.
He did.
TV.
He did.
So yeah, we did that. Spent the night in Asheville with Jordan, and yeah, and on top of all the happiness that went down, there's a lot of sadness that went down last week too. We lost a lot of famous people last week. Most notably, the Godfather himself, the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne.
Very sad. Really is.
It's the worst thing that could have ever happened, I swear. Loved Ozzy. Love Ozzy. Ozzy forever.
I guess I didn't think he was as sick as what he was because of like them appearing on TV and stuff with Jack. But yeah, it was really sad, especially after his final concert.
I'm glad he got to hold out because that's what he wanted. He wanted that last concert.
That was tough to hear.
Yeah. Malcolm Jamal Warren from The Cosby Show died.
Right.
That was terrible. He died terribly. He drowned. Unfortunately, that was
which has to be a terrible way to go.
That's horrible. I hate that. He was only like 50-some years old too. Then Chuck Mangione, the flugelhorn guy from King of the Hill, died.
Which guy?
You remember the episode where I can't remember if Hank got the job there or what was happening, but something they were trying to go to the Megalomart and they thought it was haunted, and they find out that Chuck Mangione is living in the thing.
Yeah, I do remember that episode.
He was a Canadian. He played a flugelhorn. Looks kind of like a French horn.
Yes. I know.
He was a famous jazz musician, but yeah, he passed away. And then I guess I'll mention this one too. Hulk Hogan died too.
Yeah.
Yep. If Hulk Hogan the wrestler if it was just Hulk Hogan the wrestler, it'd be all right. But Hulk Hogan the person was not a very good person, so I'm just going to mention that and leave it there.
Okay.
So, yeah, everybody that we lost last week, terrible. Long live Ozzy. All right, so we got a pretty good story for you today. Hope you guys are ready for this one because there's some kind of like tough situations in this that we're going to talk about. So I just want to give you a heads up before we start the story that we are going to talk about suicide and the death of a couple children who were murdered. So get ready for that. So Wendy, you are familiar with, I'm sure, Lizzie Borden?
I am.
A lot of people a lot of people know the story of Lizzie Borden. You could go stay at her house in Fall River, Massachusetts. The Lizzie Borden B&B, bed and breakfast. You can investigate there, visit the place, stay, eat breakfast there.
No, thank you.
I would love to.
I would not.
And that's the most famous one. and everybody talks about Lizzie and what happened to her mom and stepfather. But and when you go there, some of the hauntings in the house include small children, and everybody always kind of wondered, well, where did they come from? So that's what we're going to talk about today. You know about uh, the other murders of the small children?
Kind of.
The parents of Lizzie are not the only ones who have been murdered in that family. Lizzie herself is not the first accused murderer of that family.
So the whole clan, pretty murderous, huh?
At least a couple of them are. All right, here we go with the story.
Let's hear it.
In the early 19th century, a woman named Eliza Hathaway Darling was born in 1811, Massachusetts. Not much is known about her early years, but in March of 1843, she married Andrew Jackson Borden, also known in some records as Lodwick Borden, a member of the prominent Borden family of Fall River. Andrew Jackson was the elder brother of Andrew Borden Sr., the father of the infamous Lizzie Borden, making Eliza Lizzie's aunt by marriage. It's weird that they're both named Andrew.
What do you mean?
Well, Andrew Jackson was the elder brother of Andrew Borden Sr.
Oh, okay. Brother?
Yeah. And I guess that's strange. Like, they call her...
I wonder what if the dad was Andrew, too.
I mean, maybe. Would you want, like, a whole family of, like, Andrews?
That's like the second, the third.
I know, I get it, but it's just crazy. That's George Foreman territory there. He's got, like, 14 kids named George Foreman.
What?
Not literally 14, but every one of his kids are named like George Foreman.
Be creative Christ. Here.
I know. What shall we name him? Call him George.
Yeah. All else fails, George.
Yeah. He's going to be the 12th. Together, Eliza and Andrew settled in a modest home on Ferry Street in Fall River, and over the next few years, they had 3 children: Maria, born in 1844, Eliza Ann, born in 1846, and Holder, born in 1847. The family's life took a tragic turn in the spring of 1848, and on May 10th of that year, Eliza, here it comes, so get ready.
Okay.
Sorry about this. Then she was just 37 years old, committed a horrifying act that would shock the tight-knit New England town for generations. That morning, Eliza reportedly took her 2 youngest children, Eliza Ann and Holder, down into the cellar of their home, where she drowned them one by one in the cold, dark water of their cistern well. After killing her children, Eliza is said to have slit her own throat with a razor and collapsed behind the chimney, dying quickly from blood loss. The oldest daughter, Maria, survived, likely because she was not at home at the time.
You think?
I mean, she could have waited on her, or whatever. But there's a lot of undertones to this. We'll talk about this in a minute, but it's just that's crazy.
Hear it.
So although 19th century society didn't have a clear understanding of mental illness, many modern historians and researchers believe Eliza may have suffered from severe postpartum depression or even postpartum psychosis, a condition that can lead to delusions, hallucinations, and deeply irrational behavior. At a time when women had virtually no mental health support, Eliza's emotional pain, likely worsened by poverty and isolation, may have led to her to do the unthinkable. The house on Ferry Street where the murders took place no longer exists, but it stood just a few blocks from the house on 2nd Street where 44 years later, in 1892, Lizzie Borden would be accused of brutally murdering her father, Andrew Sr., and stepmother, Abby Borden, with a hatchet. While Eliza's crime was largely forgotten by the time of Lizzie's trial, some whispered about a dark thread running through the Borden family: 2 grisly acts of violence committed by women in the same lineage, separated only by a generation. In the decades following Eliza's death, stories began to circulate that her spirit and those of her drowned children never truly left. Some locals claimed to hear the sounds of splashing water and muffled cries near the former site of the Ferry Street home, Others describe seeing a pale woman wandering, weeping through Oak Grove Cemetery, where Eliza and her children were laid to rest. Paranormal investigators have even reported that the Lizzie Borden house on 2nd Street, now a bed and breakfast and a popular ghost tour site, is visited not only by Lizzie or her slain parents, but by the spirits of 2 small children, giggling and crying in the attic and basement where their children ever lived. Whether these hauntings are the echo of grief, guilt, or simply the weight of shared tragedy, the story of Eliza Darling Borden remains one of the most chilling and sorrowful chapters in Fall River's haunted history. A tale of motherhood, mental illness, and death that, while overshadowed by the axe murders of 1892, may have left the spirits just as restless behind. The site where Eliza Darling Borden committed one of Fall River's earliest and most disturbing family tragedies still exists, but few passersby would recognize its grim history. Today, that very location, once a modest house in the working class Corky Road neighborhood, is occupied by a modern coffee shop on 2nd Street, just a short walk from where Lizzie Borden house still stands. Remarkably, some of the original features of the 1848 murder site still survive beneath the surface. Remnants of the cistern pipe, old brick flooring, the cellar door frame, and the chimney where Eliza collapsed can still be seen in the basement of the shop, preserved like grim artifacts. This site sits only a few blocks from the more famous Lizzie Borden house, which we said, at 230 2nd Street. Though the 2 crimes were separated by 44 years, both were committed by women tied to the same prominent Fall River family. Eliza was the wife of Andrew Borden, Lizzie's uncle. While Lizzie's story became legend, Eliza's was quietly buried in shame, perhaps because of the unspoken possibility that she suffered from the postpartum depression or psychosis, conditions that were, of course, poorly understood in the 19th century. Today, her tragedy is often overlooked, yet the emotional weight of the act and the sorrow of the lives lost still seem to echo in the space she left behind. Over time, stories of hauntings began to take root. Those who've been in the cellar beneath the modern shop have reported cold spots, strange sounds of splashing water, and even the soft cries of children. A few paranormal investigators claim to have seen the apparitions of a pale, frantic woman near the cistern's remains, always searching and grieving. And curiously, guests at the Borden house, which never housed children, have frequently reported hearing the sound of giggling or weeping children, especially in the attic and basement. Some speculate that these spectral visitors may not be tied to Lizzie at all, but rather to her cousins, the drowned children of Eliza lost in the tragedy, perhaps seeking the comfort of the extended family they never got to grow up with. What was once a cellar of sorrow now quietly exists between the bustle of modern Fall River, largely forgotten by the world, but not perhaps by the spirits still tethered to it. Now, the Lizzie Borden house is located at 230 2nd Street in Fall River, and it may be one of the most famously haunted houses in the United States. Following the murders in 1892, Andrew and Abby, crimes for which the daughter Lizzie Borden was tried and acquitted, the home has never truly known peace. Today it operates as a bed and breakfast and ghost tour attraction, drawing thousands of thrill seekers, paranormal investigators, and skeptics each year. Many come for the history, most leave with an eerie story to tell. Guests who stayed overnight in the murder room, the guest bedroom where Abby was bludgeoned to death with a hatchet, often report intense sensations of being watched. Some have described the air growing oppressively heavy around 11 o'clock, the approximate time of her death, and several have even claimed to see the indentation of a body form on the bed, as if an invisible presence is lying down. One guest woke up at 3 a.m. to find a room ice cold, despite it being midsummer, and watched in horror as the rocking chair near the dresser began to move slowly back and forth, creaking rhythmically to its own. She left before sunrise and later said it felt like Abby was still trying to finish what she was doing when she was struck. The basement is another focal point of the supernatural activity. Staff and visitors alike report the overwhelming sensation of being watched from the shadows, and many refuse to enter alone. Paranormal teams have captured unexplained EVPs, or electronic voice phenomenon, in the basement, including one chilling whisper that said, "Help me find my head." One former housekeeper quit after claiming she heard someone sobbing near the boiler room and saw a pair of bare feet standing in a puddle of water that vanished when she turned on the lights. Oddly, one of the most frequently reported ghost phenomenon involves the sound of small children. Laughter, giggles, running footsteps, and crying have all been heard in the attic and upstairs hallway, despite no children ever living in the house. Some speculate these spirits might be tied not to Lizzie's case, but to an earlier tragedy of her aunt, like we said before. The children's spirits may have followed the extended Borden family and appear most often to guests with young children of their own. Many who sleep in Lizzie's own bedroom report strange dreams, vivid and unsettling. Some have seen shadowy figures in period clothing at the time of the bed, at the foot of the bed. Others wake to hear whispers saying their name or to find items in the room like combs or jewelry move from where they were left. One guest reported a dream where she stood at the top of the staircase and watched herself descend as if someone else had taken her body. She woke up covered in goosebumps, her phone across the room with a newly recorded, staticky voice memo. On it, the sound of a labored breathing and what she swore was someone humming an old nursery rhyme. That would be awesome. Even the tour guides and staff who walk the halls daily have their stories. Several refused to stay after dark. One guide was alone one night while locking up, heard heavy boot steps on the second floor, followed by a voice that muttered, "Go back." Thinking a guest had been left behind, she searched the house, only to find it empty and every door still locked from the inside. Now, did you know that after Lizzie was acquitted from her trial, that she moved to a different house?
I did, yes.
You remember the name of the house?
No.
So, after her famous trial, she was acquitted in 1893. Lizzie purchased a new home in Fall River, which she named Maplecroft.
Okay, maybe.
The Maplecroft is located on 306 French Street, which sounds like about a block or two down the road from where the bed and breakfast is. It was located in what was the Hill neighborhood, an upscale part of town, an intentional move on Lizzie's part to distance herself from the working class neighborhood on 2nd Street where the murders occurred. Lizzie bought Maplecroft in 1893. The house is large, Queen Anne style, with ornate wood and spacious grounds, a symbol of her wealth and defiance, which she inherited after her parents were killed. She lived there with her older sister Emma Borden until 1905. Emma abruptly left the house and never returned. The exact reason for their falling out remains mysterious, and Lizzie lived there until 1927 when she herself died.
So she never married, or she just stayed alone?
Lizzie lived kind of a fucked up life. So after she was acquitted, she would have like little children like pop up in front of her house, sing the like Lizzie Borden nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
They would like taunt her. People never left her alone after that.
She probably barely went out for being ridiculed.
Yeah.
I imagine. I wouldn't.
It's hard to say. Like, I mean, it really does look like she might have done it. It's hard to say. But you know, even if she didn't do it, and they're out there taunting her, I mean, she had to like suffer that for the rest of her life, dealing with people accusing her of things that didn't happen, or you know, saying things about her or that just weren't true, and so
or reminding her what she did happen or did do, like she could ever forget that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll ever know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's going to be hard to tell.
Really, what happened, and there's tons of scenarios.
One of the weird things is that so they had a housekeeper that was working at the house, and she was there washing. I'm trying to remember exactly off the top of my head. She was like washing clothes or like painting a fence or something like that, and she was sent away. And like while she was gone, that's when the murders occurred. So there's a lot of like weird extenuating circumstances to the whole thing.
By who?
Hard to say if it was actually Lizzie or if it was somebody else. Let's I can look that up real quick here.
You know, there's, I think, didn't the father own property?
Yeah, he was they're very wealthy and very prominent.
There were tales that maybe some disgruntled tenants could have slipped in during this time frame. Also, back in that time, it wasn't far-fetched for a father to do inappropriate things to his daughters.
Yeah.
So if that was something that was going on, maybe you could see why she would flip.
So that was one of the theories of why she possibly killed them. The theory, one of the theories is that she killed her father because of what he was doing, which he wasn't her biological father; he was her stepfather.
Okay.
And she killed her mother for covering up for him.
Well, the mama had to know.
If that was going on, yeah, it's very possible.
And, I guess for the simple fact of not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Or helping her.
Okay, so on the day that this happened, Bridget Sullivan, who was the maid, was... Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I told you wrong. I apologize. It says she was not sent away, but she was actually in the home during the killings. So on August 4th, Lizzie Borden's father and stepmother Abby were brutally murdered. Okay. Bridget was present that day and had been ordered by either Lizzie or Mrs. Borden to clean the windows.
That's what I thought.
That's what it was.
Windows.
I knew there was some kind of task to it. Despite it being very hot, and after finishing, she went up to her attic room to rest, which is where Abby was believed to have been dead upstairs. So they think she went upstairs when Abby was already dead. Later, Andrew returned home, and while he was resting sitting on the couch, he was murdered as well. Lizzie claimed she found her father dead and called for Bridget, telling her to go to the doctor and a neighbor. At no point was Bridget sent away to the murders. In fact, her presence and what she did or didn't hear is one of the most significant parts of the case because the killer was never seen or heard by her. There is speculation Lizzie may have tried to get Bridget out of the house temporarily by sending her on errands afterward, but she was still nearby during the key events. So I think that's where I kind of got confused a little bit. So she was trying to get rid of her, supposedly.
And I'm thinking when she went upstairs to her room to rest or whatever, the mom was on the side of the bed in between the wall
and her
bed,
found.
So she wasn't seen from just the doorway.
Yeah.
So she could have been laying there dead.
Yeah,
she would have never known it because she was behind the bed.
If you look at the crime scene photographs, you had to go around the bed, like you said, and there was a dresser up against the wall, and then the bed was kind of in the middle of the room, and she was between the dresser and the wall and the bed on her knees down on the floor. And Andrew was laid up on the couch. He was sprawled back like he was taking a nap, and he probably never moved from there.
Yeah, they probably hit him while he was asleep.
So here's a couple theories of who could have done the Lizzie Borden case other than Lizzie. The first one is, of course, the maid, Bridget Sullivan. She had long-standing resentment toward the Borden family, particularly Abby, and was allegedly angry about being forced to wash windows in the sweltering heat the day of the murders. She was in the house at the time, and she had access to all the areas. No known history of violence or behavior suggesting she was capable of such brutality. She testified against Lizzie during the trial and was never seriously considered a suspect by authorities. The second one is Lizzie's older sister, Emma, which she lived with. She shared potential financial motives, stood to benefit from the inheritance, but she was weak. She was out of town in Fairhaven, about 15 miles away at the time of the murders. And though some theorize that she may have returned secretly or conspired with Lizzie, there is no evidence that she was in Fall River on the day of the murders. And then, of course, an unknown intruder could have came in for robbery or revenge, probably one of his tenants. Could have entered and exited while Lizzie and Bridget were otherwise occupied. But no signs of forced entry, theft, or struggle, and the Borden home had multiple locks and was kept very secure. Authorities found this theory implausible at the time. Another one is William Borden, an alleged illegitimate son of Andrew, who was angry over being denied recognition or inheritance. Largely speculative. No verified evidence he existed, but some later accounts and theories suggest a man by that name may have had a grievance against Andrew. No contemporary records or official investigation links him to the crime. And the last one is the Dr. Seabury Bowen, a family physician. None clearly established, no motive, I should say, but fringe theories suggest that he may have been covering for Lizzie or possibly involved in the conspiracy. He arrived after the murders, but not before, and he had no credible evidence supports his involvement. And this theory is mostly speculative. It says, although several alternate suspects have been proposed, none had the same access, conflicting statements, or questionable behavior that Lizzie Borden did this, and that's why the jury acquitted her, and the case remains one of America's most enduring unsolved mysteries.
That is crazy. I know there's been a few mediums to walk through, and I can't really remember what they said, but I'm swaying more that they got the feeling that Lizzie did not murder the stepfather.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold one way or the other. I don't know because if you look at the evidence, to me, I mean, I guess it's mostly like Occam's razor. Like the simplest answer is probably the actual answer itself. So the simplest answer is Lizzie Borden did it. Then there's no evidence that she was like mistreated, but there's no evidence that she wasn't. So it's hard to say.
Well, that was never spoke about at that time.
Oh yeah, of course.
Not like today, where you'll put someone in prison or whatever. But back in that time, when those things happened, that was like kept tight-lipped.
Oh yeah,
it didn't go out of the family.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you had a gun to my head and was like, "Who fucking did it?" I'd be like, Lizzie. That's all I could say. I don't know. I think like it, the maid thing almost feels like a conspiracy to me, though, for sure. Like, I wonder if Lizzie and the maid had some sort of like conspiracy together,
and it could have been
because no, I can't say anything because there's other cases where this is weird too. But if she was in the house and if somebody got murdered with an axe, don't you think there'd be some kind of noise or sound?
Thump.
A fight. I mean, like because her mom got killed first. So if she killed her mom or she hit her mom, do you think her mom was immediately silent? I don't think so.
No,
like there's no way.
Not.
So there had to be some sort of noise. Like I just don't know how she was around when that happened and didn't hear any noises.
Right. And the bead, I mean, cause with a hatchet, nonetheless, she fell on her knees.
Yeah.
So, that if you were in the house, you had to have heard it.
Yeah, there's no way.
Even if you were in the attic or basement, I mean, wherever. Hell, you could probably stand outside and still hear it.
If you were, I was gonna say if you're standing like outside the house, outside the window, you could have heard like a thump or a chop or whatever. And maybe even like when Andrew got killed, because he was raw dogged with that axe, like very bad.
But now you said that the maid testified against her.
She did.
Then that don't sound like a cahoot.
Unless she got money.
Well, I mean,
or a plea deal.
Would she not have stood to gain more money from Lizzie?
Yeah, maybe.
What?
But then again, if the prosecutors was like, we're going to charge you with this too because you were at the house, unless you testify against Lizzie, trying to get evidence against her, trying to get a conviction. So they could have forced her to, or gave her a plea deal that she wouldn't be convicted if she testified against Lizzie.
Too bad they didn't have lie detector tests back in the day, because that's one mystery I'd like to know who done it.
I mean, that's like that's definitely a crime that could use some like modern forensics. That one and Jack the Ripper too. I think Jack the Ripper could use some forensics. I know they think they found out who Jack the Ripper was, but I still would like to have some definitive like proof.
Well, I was going to say the fact that there's still question above it still makes you wonder, is this really him?
The report that came up recently was basically like, this is the guy, this is him. I had to look it up, see what it was. Maybe we'll do an episode on it. It's kind of cool how true crime and paranormal world kind of cross over. You can really get into some interesting cases like this one. But so see how easy it is to look over what Eliza did when talking about Lizzie Borden, though, and it's kind of like what's happened in like history. Eliza's crime has kind of been looked over because of the media attention that Lizzie Borden's gotten, and her crime is just as horrendous. But her crime was more sad because I believe that having just recently had a child, that it was definitely some sort of postpartum depression thing that was not treated.
It would have had to be because I know, being a mother myself, I would kill a fucker
Yeah.
for even considering doing any harm to my child. So the fact that a mother done it herself, she had to be suffering from something, or she was just like downright evil.
Yeah. I mean, she had to be like the most evil person, or she just had some sort of like mental instability that needed to be like checked up.
I can't speak on postpartum depression because I've never had it. I hear it's pretty bad. And if you don't really have anyone there to support you, like helping you with the kids or, whatever, you're just, raging with postpartum depression, and you've got these children to tend to. I mean, I could really see, I guess, how it would really get to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't speak on that because I've never experienced it.
So this is interesting. I looked up like what's the difference between postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis, because they're both mentioned in the story. And postpartum depression affects about 10 to 15% of new mothers. Usually begins within weeks to a few months after childbirth. The symptoms are persistent sadness or crying, fatigue or lack of energy, feelings of guilt or worthlessness, loss of interest in activities, difficulty bonding with the baby, changes in sleep and appetite, anxiety or panic attacks, and suicidal thoughts in some cases. And the mother's usually aware something is wrong, but it may feel ashamed or overwhelmed. There's low risk to harm the baby, though it can affect bonding and caregiving. And it's often treated with therapy, support groups, and or medication like antidepressants. And postpartum psychosis is rare. Occurs only in one or two out of every 1,000 births. Typically occurs very suddenly, often within the first 2 weeks of postpartum. And the symptoms include delusions, false beliefs, often involving the baby, hallucinations, seeing or hearing things that aren't there, severe confusion or disorientation, rapid mood swings, mania or depression, paranoia or irrational fears, agitation and the inability to sleep, risk of harm to self or baby. And the mother is usually not aware she's experiencing a psychotic break. And this is what makes it so dangerous. There's a high risk to the baby if not treated. Cases like the Eliza Borden, who killed her children and herself, are now believed to be potential historical examples of PPP. And treatment requires immediate psychiatric intervention, often hospitalization, mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, or this says electroconvulsive therapy in some extreme cases.
Right.
I know. That's weird. I didn't know that's a thing. If someone shows signs of postpartum psychosis, it's considered a psychiatric emergency, and immediate help should be sought to protect both the mother and the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty serious.
It's a rager.
Yeah, that's really serious.
You would feel like the father might pick up on this.
I think if you're having a psychotic effect, probably more so than postpartum depression, it's probably more, I would think, more prevalent than just the regular depression. Because depression is usually like the silent killer, so one of the things that will
Oh yeah,
kind of fly under the radar.
Well,
there's a lot of help out there for people who are suffering from these ailments and stuff. So I'm gonna give you some information here to help you out along the way. If you or someone you know who is dealing with this can get some help. The hotline phone number is 1-833 TLC Mama MAMA. Talk to a trained counselor, and they will help you with postpartum depression. And I guess it's a national hotline that you can call, kind of like a national suicide hotline or depression hotline. Give them a phone call, and they will make sure that you get what you need, because it's beneficial to you and your baby to get the mental help.
Well, now you don't, ever since COVID, which I think is a great idea. It should have been going on before COVID, but you can now get help through virtual appointments. Over the phone without having to leave your house. Because lots of times when you're depressed, even getting up and getting dressed to go out is a chore. So you can, start a virtual without having to leave your home.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea too.
Yeah, there's there's all kinds of help groups, therapy sessions, psychiatrists, anybody that's around that does any kind of mental wellness or mental well-being. They're always there to help you if you feel like you're having these symptoms. So if anyone you or someone you know has these problems, just reach out and they'll get you what you need. Well, this episode was once again the nod was given by Wendy to do this story.
I didn't say to end it. I was just taking in everything.
I wasn't ending it. I was just I'm talking here.
Oh.
Slow down, baby. Slow down. I was just gonna say, having heard the story, how do you feel about the Lizzie Borden haunting now?
I mean, as far as what? Concerning what?
Do you think that do you think the reason that the place is so haunted is because of the children, or do you think it's because of what Lizzie did, or do you think it's a combination?
I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
I think any time something bad happens, it leaves a mark, stain, a bad imprint, whatever. That energy's absorbed, mark there, and I think it's a combination of that's why they're seeing children, and just a lot of bad shit happened in one area. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's what's most interesting to me is that they travel from their location to this other location to stay. Like it said in the story, possibly to be with family that they never knew or felt like they had. And I wondered why. I wonder why they would move. Is that the reason that they would move from where their lives were taken, or is there a different reason for them to travel, or do they just feel like going wherever they want to? Do they also go to Maplecroft? I don't know, because Maplecroft does have some sort of weird hauntings too.
Maybe it's bloodline. Maybe it's a bloodline thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Lizzie died. Lizzie died in Maplecroft, and they report hauntings over there too.
Okay, so from where the mother and children incident happened, it was what, like 2 streets over?
Yeah,
a block or whatever.
Just a couple streets over. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it. Those kids probably played through there.
Oh yeah.
And all that. I think it's just a lot of bad stuff at one time. Kind of like, not comparing it as big as, but like Gettysburg, you still see the soldiers or whatever. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what happened. That's my opinion.
So just to tell you a little bit about the hauntings that happened at Maplecroft, by the way. People see Lizzie. They hear disembodied voices, especially in Lizzie's former bedroom and parlor. Visitors and investigators report the sense of being watched, particularly on the second floor. Some claim to see a female figure in a Victorian dress thought to be Lizzie herself, especially in mirrors or windows. Items are said to move on their own or disappear and reappear later in strange places. An echo, some believe, of Lizzie's increasingly erratic and reclusive behavior in later years. I've heard that Lizzie had OCD, by the way, so that's kind of interesting. They feel cold spots and unexplained energy. The sudden cold drafts and energy shifts are reported in various rooms with no logical explanation. Guests often feel emotionally overwhelmed, particularly in the front parlor where Lizzie supposedly spent much of her time in solitude. EVPs and paranormal investigations. Ghost hunters have recorded EVPs believed to include phrases like "get out" or "I didn't do it." That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Paranormal teams report fluctuating EMF, mysterious knocks, and light anomalies. Some say that the spiritual activity increases on or near the anniversary of the murders, even though they occurred at a previous house. And in the bedroom mirror, a recurring story involves Lizzie's vanity mirror, where visitors have claimed to see a shadowy figure behind them, only to turn around and find no one there. Some believe the mirror may hold residual energy or psychic imprint from Lizzie's final years. Though no murders occurred at Maplecroft, the house has become a symbol of Lizzie's exile, a mansion filled with money but void of peace. She lived there in near isolation with her housekeeper and many pets until her death in 1927. It's said that the weight of the secrets and silence lingers in the walls. Whether Maplecroft is truly haunted or simply burdened by the energy of a woman whose life was forever shadowed by blood and suspicion remains an open question for those who dare to step inside.
So she never remarried, or she never married.
Oh no, she lived in exile. She basically she got a bunch of money from her family, but dug herself into a cave and stayed there.
But would you not? Okay, so if you killed these people and got away with it,
Mm-hmm.
got by with it,
Mm-hmm.
would you not? I mean, I feel like that type of person would feel more empowered.
Yeah.
And not be a recluse. I
Mhm.
figured that. I feel like that's more of somebody who got accused of doing something bad that they didn't do.
Yeah.
So they hid in shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, what are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing?
Sprawling out there. Threw me for a loop there.
Have you ever witnessed any child spirits?
No, I have not.
I have with Chris. We told you the story.
Gately?
Yeah.
No.
So he lived in his house, going up 181,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Oh, yeah. Okay.
it was a little block house.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Tragic.
Well,
story.
These little kids, unfortunately, they perished in a fire, and there was 2 of them, I believe. Well, we were at 3. Oh man, we were at this house, and we would hang out there a lot when I was younger. And one night we were downstairs, and because a friend of ours was staying, had moved into his basement, so he had built like a little, not built, but he had a room kind of made down there, like with curtains that had kind of like made walls or whatever out of it.
Right.
So we were down there and we were like listening to music and like talking and just bullshit and like having beers. And we heard footsteps upstairs. And Chris thought his mom was home. So we went upstairs to see who was home. And when we went, nobody was there, but his front door was unlocked. And the weird thing was that they always kept the door locked, like constantly. That was like their thing. And Chris was like, "Oh, the door's unlocked." And so he locked the door back, and we walked around into the corner to where his mom's room was, and she wasn't there. And we came back around the corner, and the door was unlocked again. And Chris was like, "Okay, the door's unlocked again." So he locked it back. We went downstairs, and we were hanging out down there for a little while. And all of a sudden, inside those curtains, you saw like what looked like a little shape run through the curtain. And I was like, "What was that?" And then all of a sudden, it felt like we were surrounded by kids. they were like running around. They were like, it was like they're playing hide and seek with us.
Interesting.
And then in one of the one of the curtains, I watched it like lean out and sort of like curl up, like a little kid was hiding behind it, like looking at us. Like kind of creeping around.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I said like, hey there, I see you or something like that. And then the curtain like fell back and it took off. And then my friend had like a Crown Royal bag that was hanging on a hook behind his like a bed, and like that thing started swinging on its own. And a couple of the times we would see like them run through the curtains again, and then you could hear like the little feet, and then they were gone.
Did that happen? I mean, was that the only time, or did that?
Pretty much. that was pretty much the only time that we really witnessed anything. It was just really wild how like the energy just grew, and then it was like
they were all under like school age.
Yeah.
So they would have been little children running around.
Yeah. I'll never forget seeing like the figure run through the curtain like that.
Well, I guess at least they're running and having fun.
Oh, they were playing. Yeah. They weren't suffering, they were playing.
Because I remember that incident happening, and the parents got out, and I feel like I would have probably burned myself trying to get my kids out of there.
Yeah.
But anywho.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know how to not end that on a sad note. This is a hard one. Anyway, everybody, thank you for listening. We really appreciate you guys coming back. Our Facebook group is growing. Tell your friends, tell your other friends, tell their friends, tell them, tell two friends.
Their neighbor and their cousin and their brother's cousin's cousin.
Yes, because we are getting there. We're almost up to 1,000 followers on Facebook. That's pretty awesome. So keep it going. Come check us out on Instagram. We need more followers over there. Make sure you go check out our merch store. We got some cool merch for you. Really helps the podcast grow and helps us out a little bit. So support your favorite podcast. Buy a t-shirt. Buy your friends a t-shirt. Have two friends with their friends buy t-shirts.
And their cousin and their cousin's cousin.
We got an email, thehonologicalsociety@gmail.com. Send us your stories, and we will do like listener tales, things like that. Wendy, what else you got?
We could have them on the show.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe we'll do some. We get enough stories. We'll get people. We could get a group together and do live stories together.
Like ghost stories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Live ghost stories. All right. Well, appreciate it. Hope to see you guys next week. Come back. We got a good story for you as well. And as usual, I'm Eric.
I'm Wendy.
We're out.